Coming up on the live stream, Trump claims a mask makes him look like the Lone Ranger. I do not see it, COVID swabby. Welcome to the second live stream of the day. My mic is on. We are good to go. It looks like producer Joanna's already here. Moderator Danielle is in the room, so go ahead and swear up a storm, and Danielle decides whether you get through or not. Stephanie, good to see you. Good to see everybody in here. Let's get going with this interview in just a couple of seconds here. If anyone is watching on Twitter, send us a quick note. You guys are usually delayed. If you want to watch this more quickly and be up in time, real time with the chat almost, go ahead and go to Kevinly Father at YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and just search for Kevinly Father, all one word, or you can go, hey Kim, so we're good on Twitter. You can go to youtube.com/Kevinly Father. There it is right there, youtube.com/Kevinly Father. While you're there, hit subscribe, and then next to it, you'll see a little bell. Hit that bell, and you'll get alerts every time we go on the air. So it looks like we've got a little bit of an audience already. Hey, Chris, good to see you. That is our generous donor of 38 cents per annum. Good to have Chris here. We will get going with 2 interviews after covering a bunch of stuff already today. Can I raise my volume up again? No one has literally ever asked that in the history of mankind. You could turn your volume up. Okay, my volume is up and I'm in the red, so hopefully everybody can hear me now. Once I get going with the broadcast, this first feed is from Fox, so the volume might be a little bit heavy on it. Hi, Chris, good to see you. Centaur, nice to see you. I already did one broadcast about an hour ago, if you missed it, so my voice is already starting to strain a little bit. Kevinly daughter has a really sore throat. She actually went and got a COVID test yesterday, unrelated, but I have video of that COVID test. If you guys want to see that COVID test video of Kevinly daughter, she got the swab right up there with the COVID swabby in the back of the head. It came out her ear. I could see the swab, the Q-tip. So 2 in 1, really. You get your brain cleaned, you get your ear cleaned. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Rich, nice to see you back. Casey, welcome back. All right, let's get going. Anybody else? Am I missing anybody? I don't know. Everybody else watching who doesn't go to the chat room, welcome. Good to see you here as well, although I'm not seeing you. Everybody on Facebook, when you chat, we see your chat in our little chat window over there, but we can't chat back at you, because Facebook doesn't work like that. So if you want to go somewhere better, go to youtube.com/Kevinly Father. I don't know how many times I have to explain that. Just in case someone out there is watching, hello, Adrian. Because I heard you were thinking about watching as well. So Adrian, John, if you're watching, welcome. If you're not, then you can't hear this anyway. So let's get going. This first interview was with Fox Business yesterday. This is the dawn. Before we get going, Rich is asking producer Rich is asking when Kevinly daughter finds out the results. Her and I should find out the results within 3 to 100 business days. That's what they told us. And if we have it, they're going to give us a call. Otherwise, we'll just get our results online. Ooh, I could do that while I'm broadcasting. Here we go.
Mr. President, thank you for talking to Fox Business. We appreciate it. A lot to get to. Let me start with phase 4 and what might potentially come later this month. Another round of direct payments for individuals. Do you support that at this time?
I do. I support it, but it has to be done properly, and I support actually larger numbers than the Democrats, but it's got to be done properly. We had some...
Okay, direct payments, those are the stimulus checks, and that was $1,200 last time, and he didn't promise, but he answered a question saying in the next couple of weeks, 2 Fridays ago, that there would be another stimulus check. Now he's saying he wants even larger number than the Democrats, which doesn't really mean anything because the Democrats just passed a bill yesterday, a stimulus bill, which Mitch in the Senate said, no, we're not even going to take a look at it. So whoever he's with, for example, he's a people pleaser. For example, he was twice now, at least twice, and I think 3 times, he's been with crowds of German people and claimed that his father was born in a beautiful city in Germany. His father was born in the Bronx. But just whoever he's with, he's a chameleon. We've elected President Zelig. So it sounds like there's a leaf blower or something going on outside. If you guys can hear that and it bothers you, let me know and I'll go shut the door. Here we go.
Something where it gave you a disincentive to work last time. and it was still money going to people and help.
Okay, he's totally not answering the question. The disincentive to work is the $600 a week that you get extra if you aren't working and you're getting unemployment. Or in my case, you're getting zero because that $600. Anyway, so the question was about a stimulus check. He's answering a question about the $600. He's not bright at all, people. He's a walking idiot. The only reason he has any power is because his dad was a multi-millionaire because he was ripping off senior citizens in New York and giving his money to his children. He's a buffoon. I really haven't made up my mind, but let's watch more.
Helping people, so I was all for that. But we want to create a very great incentive to work. So we're working on that, and I'm sure we'll all come together.
You want the
Oh my God, did I say her and I? Her and I got tested. I'll have to go back and look at the tape. Usually I'm right about that, but if it was her and me, that's fine. But it wasn't you and her, Joanna, that's for sure.
direct payments larger or the uninsurance benefits
I want
larger?
the money getting to people to be larger.
Okay, he's
they
trying
can
to clarify
spend it.
here.
I
Let's go
want
back.
Last time, and it was still money going to people and helping people, so I was all for that. But we want to create.
The background there, the ambulance is in Washington, D.C., someone being taken to the hospital for COVID, I'm sure. Could be one of the staff members. Herman Cain is in the hospital, by the way. He attended Trump's rally without a mask, the Corona Bowl in Tulsa, and now he's in the hospital with the coronavirus. We'll see what happens there.
A very great incentive to work. So we're working on that, and I'm sure we'll all come together.
You want the direct payments larger or the uninsurance benefits
I want
larger?
the money getting to people to be larger. So
See, again, he's trying to clarify. The guy's trying to help him. This is Fox Business. He's trying. Do you mean the direct payments or the uninsurance money? I want them to be larger. Right, but which one? The larger one for everybody, and it's like nothing ever seen. These are numbers. I'm making them up, but they're numbers.
so they can spend it. I want the money to get there quickly and in a non-complicated fashion.
Which one?
And they wanted to make it too complicated.
So a direct deposit that would be non-complicated.
Also, it was an incentive not to go to work. You'd make more money if you don't go to work. That's not.
The stimulus checks were not an incentive to go back to work. The stimulus checks are an incentive to sit at your computer every day, going to irs.gov and wondering why it won't give you any information.
Not what the country's all about. And people didn't want that. They wanted to go to work, but it didn't make sense because they make more money if they didn't. And we had some of that, and so we don't want to have that. We want to have people get out, and we want to create a tremendous incentive for people to want to go back to work.
On that end,
And the people whose jobs don't exist and the people whose restaurants just got shut down yesterday.
and the uninsurance benefits, Mitch McConnell yesterday signaled his support for an extension, the $600 figure. Do you agree with that number? Do you think it should be less?
We're getting together. We're going to meet tonight, and we're going to make a determination, but it's going to be a good number, a substantial number. People are going to be very
Did anybody know if they made a determination? Does anybody know that was last night? Yeah, so that was last night. So that determination should have been. Did anybody hear from Mitch today?
happy. One thing that's happening, and you see it with the numbers, and we have big numbers coming out. Hopefully they're going to be good. They're very important. But when you see what's happening with jobs, when you see that we're doing record numbers of jobs in the history of our country, we've never created more jobs than what we did last month. That last month
None of those jobs were created.
number. Retail sales are at a record number, especially when you talk about increase. When you look at percentage
Only when you talk about increase.
nobody's ever seen anything like it. So we're headed back in a very strong fashion with a V, and I think we're
Fashion is spelt with an F. Idiot.
going to be very good with the coronavirus. I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope.
There he is with the coronavirus disappearing again. You guys know all about my coronavirus stuff. Let's just take a quick look. Yeah, here it is. Here's, for those of you who weren't watching the other broadcast today, here is the coronavirus disappearing from the United States. That's it right there. Over there. Right there. Right there. Disappearing. New cases. And, oh boy, I'm going to refresh this. I think, yeah, we just hit another record today. Somebody in the room, go ahead and look that up, see what we actually are at today. We might, it doesn't give me the number right here, updated as of 5:55 Eastern time. So yeah, as of 2 hours, it looks like, now it'll do it. It wasn't doing this earlier. 49,000 is not a record. So I'm not sure why Because yesterday we did 54, I think. But again, that really depends on which stats you're looking at. The CDC is always late. I don't know if they're getting this information from Johns Hopkins, always say that wrong, or not. Anyway, back to him.
Still believe so.
Hi, Mari.
Well, I do. Yeah, sure, at some point. And I think we're going to have a vaccine very soon, too.
Speaking of COVID-19.
No evidence for that, but geez, I hope he's right. Again, the quickest vaccine in history was for the mumps, and it was 4.5 years.
Goldman Sachs put out a model yesterday saying that if there is universal masks, it would be a net positive for GDP. We know the IHME model says that if there were universal masks, that it would be beneficial, it would save lives. So if there is an economic benefit, sir, and there is a public health benefit, sir, why not go forward and say there should be mandatory masks all across this country?
Well, I don't know if you need mandatory because you have many places in the country where people stay very long distance. You talk about social distance.
Well, no, mandatory if you're going to be within 6. Every area of the country has people within 6 feet of each other. You kind of saw me messing around on my screen over there. I left that up for a second. Goldman Sachs did a study basically saying this is how much you actually locked down versus how much of an effect it had on the economy. If you want to see that, go to marketwatch.com or just look up Goldman Sachs masks. But here's the U.S. for whatever that's worth. Moving on.
But I'm all for masks. I think masks are good. I would wear, if I were in a group of people and I was close.
You would wear one?
Oh, I would. Oh, I have. I mean, people have seen me wearing one. If I'm in a group of people where we're not, 10 feet away, but usually I'm not in.
Yeah, his video's not loud, and here's why, guys. Thank you for the notice, producer Debbie. This is why you're a producer. Okay, so everybody go ahead and turn your volume down slightly. This might blast. I'm going to turn so you guys don't have to turn yours down. I'm going to turn mine down a little bit because I just turned YouTube up. But if you're wearing headphones, kind of take them off for a second here, because here comes Trump, a lot of Trump.
In that position, and everyone's tested because
okay,
of
that's
the
not
president.
bad.
They get tested before they see me. But if I were in a tight situation with people, I would absolutely.
You think the public will see that at some point?
I mean, I'd have no problem. Actually, I had a mask on. I sort of liked the way I looked. Okay, I thought it was okay. It was a dark black mask, and I thought it looked okay. It looked like the Lone Ranger. But no, I have no problem with that. I think, and if people feel good about it, they should do it.
I want to ask you about your opponent coming up in November, Joe Biden. He has a much different tax vision than you. He talks about...
So, the Lone Ranger... Is it just me, guys? Or is that... Did he put on the mask? It was like, look, everybody, I'm wearing a hat.
It's about taxing the wealthy, about increasing the corporate rate from 21 to 28%. Mr. President, in this environment of double-digit unemployment right now, do you worry that that message might resonate better?
I think what happens is if you do that, you're going to crash the market. We have a market that's going to be, I believe, by sometime early next year, could even be sooner, at record levels. You're going to crash the market. 401ks will be down the tubes. The wealth of the country will be down. No, he really wants to, just to put it more accurately, he just wants to raise everyone's taxes because they want to spend it on nonsense. They want to spend it on things that don't work. They want to give the money away. And I don't think people are going to stand for it. They want to...
They want to spend money on things that don't work, whereas I'm taking money for the military to build the wall.
The Democrats want to raise taxes, and it's going to ultimately be everybody's taxes. That will kill the market. It'll kill everything that we're doing. It'll kill jobs.
Will it kill 130,000 Americans? Will it do that?
And it'll be very bad. I think that, frankly, the stock market's doing well, but it's an overhang. If he got elected, and they say
that's him in a
this,
mask.
If he got elected, that's an overhang over the market because the market would crash, would absolutely crash. Market would go down by a tremendous amount.
The way it went down under Obama and tripled.
He'd raise taxes, he'd raise regulations. Look, one of the biggest things I've done is I've cut regulations more than any president in history. We still have regulations, but they're much less. If Biden got in, and first of all, it wouldn't be him, because he's not into regulation. He doesn't know where he is.
Hey, first off, it wouldn't be him, because he's not into it. He doesn't go. He doesn't know where he is.
Biden got in, and first of all, it wouldn't be him, because he's not into regulation. He doesn't know where he is.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know where he is.
Frankly, I watched his press conference yesterday. He's answering questions like this from a teleprompter.
He was not. I watched the press conference. Some of you watched it. Biden was not answering questions from the teleprompter. They said that on the 5 or Outnumbered or one of those Fox shows, apparently. And so Trump saw that, and he says he watched it. He said he watched the conference. He's tweeted that, and he says it, I think, here or in the next interview. I don't even know. But there were 2 microphones set up, as you do in COVID times. One microphone for reporters over there, one for reporters over there. Only reporters were invited. This was just a press conference, not a rally. And so Biden would look to this microphone while that microphone was being cleaned and the next reporter was approaching it. That way you didn't have people lining up at a microphone. I mean, it's if you were going to hold a press conference in the times of COVID, this would be the way to do it. And to Trump, he was reading off the teleprompter.
I said, what's that all about? But his people, the people around him, are radical left. They're going to raise taxes, they're going to raise regulations, and they're going to put everyone out of business. It would be a disaster.
I want to ask you about minimum wage.
You know, the way the economy was a disaster under Obama and Clinton.
Because today, here in the District of Columbia, 3 other states as well, they are raising the minimum wage. The critics would say this is the wrong time to do that for businesses. Do you agree?
I'm going to have a statement on minimum wage. I feel differently than a lot of people on minimum wage, some people in my own party, but I'll have a statement over the next 2 weeks on minimum wage.
In terms of?
In the next 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks.
Well, I think I'm going to have a very positive statement on minimum wage, but look, I'm putting...
It's a positive statement, so I'm positive there should be a minimum wage.
People to work at record numbers. I did it once. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Then we got hit with the China virus. It came in, and it came in rather quickly, and we put bans on China, did a lot of things right. I think we did it all right. We did a great job. We're credited with doing a great job, but we had to turn off our country, or we would have lost millions of people. We would have lost millions of people, millions and millions. And
again, the question is on, what do you think of the minimum wage?
And now we're coming back. We did it once. Best African American, best Hispanic American.
But yeah, China.
Best Asian American, best employment numbers we've ever had, best economy we've ever had, best stock market we've ever had. And the beautiful thing is, if you take a look today, the stock market is getting very near those numbers again. That means jobs.
You see what happened, you saw what happened last night in New York City with the council there and what it means for the NYPD.
New York City cut the police budget by $1 billion and shifted some of that money to social work and stuff like that. I didn't research it too much, but that's essentially what this will be about, if he answers it, if he has any concept of it.
What would you want to say to Mayor Bill de Blasio?
Well, I'm a big fan of New York's finest. We call him New York's finest policeman. And what he's done to that group of incredible men and women is very sad. It's very sad. I don't mean just the $1 billion. That's a big thing. But even if you go long before this, when they turned around, they turned their backs, his relationship with the police of New York, and these are incredible people, it's been very sad to watch, frankly.
Before we go, I want to ask you about Jay Powell as well, because you had talked about this idea of maybe you could demote him, maybe you could potentially even fire him. Based off of what you've seen over the last few months, do you still have those feelings?
Well, first of all, I didn't talk about it. The media did. I didn't talk about that. And I would say that I was not happy with him.
He did.
At the beginning, and I'm getting more and more happy with him. I think he stepped up to the plate. He's done a good job. He's had to liquefy a little bit, let us liquefy, let the economy, put out the money that you needed. And I would say that over the last period of 6 months, he's really stepped up to the plate.
If you had to make a decision today on his next term, would you keep him?
Well, I don't want to say that, but I can tell you I'm very happy with his performance. And Steve Mnuchin, I think they've both done a very good job. They're working together very closely. They've done a very good job. Here we are with the stock market almost where it was. You know that better than anybody. The market is just a little bit shy, not much, of where it was. And before, we had the highest market in history. We're not very far off that.
Do you think the stock market needs to be at a certain level come November 3rd? Like, do you view that as a barometer of where you need to be?
I think the higher it is, the better it is for me.
Do you have a number in mind?
I think the Democrats would like to see the country stay closed as long as possible because they figure that's probably good for the election because it would be bad a little bit for jobs.
We should close it, actually close it, for 3 weeks. Shut it down. It's called the hammer. The hammer and the dance. You can look it up. There's a couple of articles on Medium about it, but it's a concept that the other countries have used, that you actually shut it down. You don't do a half shutdown, as Dr. Fauci says. Too soon.
In the United States, even in the most strict lockdown, only about 50% of the country locked down. That allowed the perpetuation of the outbreak that we never did get under very good control.
Yeah, we've never gotten the virus under control because we're pussyfooting around it. Nobody grabs a pussyfoot like Trump.
And maybe a lot for jobs. But it's hard, and people want to get back to work. They want to get back to doing what they're doing. We understand this disease now. It's a horrible thing, and it shouldn't have been sent, or it shouldn't have happened. Maybe it was sent, and maybe it wasn't. We'll find out. We're going to figure it all out. But
we may never know. But the virus itself is naturally occurring. There's nothing about it that says it was genetically made.
It came from China. Shouldn't have happened.
Maybe it was
They
sent.
shouldn't have allowed this to happen. They could have stopped it in China. And they did stop it going into China for the most part, but they didn't stop it. Beijing had a little bit of an outbreak, I understand.
It spread all around China. And if you guys will indulge me, I want to show you a New York Times article that's absolutely fantastic that sort of depicts how the virus got around. The deal is, it can get somewhere, it can get out, but if you test and contain and lock that shit down, you can beat this virus. New Zealand has done it. Singapore has done it. Hong Kong has done it. Well, and of course, South Korea. South Korea has 280 deaths, I think. We're going to end up with 280,000. But I wanted to show you guys this. Let me bring it up here. This is fantastic. So if you do subscribe to the New York Times, I don't know whether to say good for you or not, because I have a love and hate relationship with the New York Times. They do a lot of good stuff, but on the other hand, they also didn't tell us that they knew that Trump was under investigation before the election. They knew about it, and they didn't say anything. Had they, we might be in a different situation today. And I wouldn't be doing this broadcast. I'd be doing like the live stream with Hillary. Boring. Okay, here we go. This is very, very cool. Let's see if I can give you more than this. This is really interesting. Nope, not that one. How do I get that page only? This is what I'm going to do. Give me a second here, guys, because I want you to be able to see this. Is that enough? Yeah, that kind of gives you enough of a look there. Okay, so this is a New York Times article. It's called How the Virus Got Out. Take some time and look at this yourself if you want to. This is absolutely fascinating. So you can see that's obviously the province where everything got started, Hunan. And it outlines there, you've got the seafood market. The seafood market is right by a train station, so thousands, tens of thousands of people pass by there every day. Dozens got sick. Suddenly there was nearly 1,000 cases by the end of December, spread all over town. And then here's China. You can see this is a map of the cell phone usage. People traveling around either by air or by train routes in China. You can see there's all sorts of things happening. Okay. 175,000 people left December 31st. There's just so many people there. Wuhan's a city of about 13 million people. And this is just January 1st, travel out of Wuhan. I hope this is big enough for you on your phones. If it's not, then go look this up because this is fascinating. And if you're not a subscriber to the Times, maybe I'll do this again if you guys want to see this again. And I'll make it full screen. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Watch this, guys. I'm going to get even bigger over here. And I can do that. There we go. So that's January 1st. Let's see. Departures from Wuhan accelerated over the next 3 weeks. 7 million people left in January before travel was restricted because people were starting to get sick. So people fled and they went all around China. Thousands of travelers were infected. And you can see this is kind of a graphical depiction of it. 2 days later, the authorities locked down Wuhan, and many cities followed the next few weeks. So many cities in China were locked down. As soon as the virus was detected, they started locking that shit down. It spread more, February, all kinds of interesting graphics you can see there. Then stories about individuals who had it. They do a really nice job of illustrating all of that. Here we go. In the United States, testing was lagged. President Trump suspended most travel from Europe. The virus was already here. The virus will not have a chance against us, he said. 125,000 people later. So it continued to spread. You can see each dot represents X number of cases there. But this is an absolutely fantastic article in terms of interaction. It's called How the Virus Got Out. Look it up if you want some more information on the virus itself. I just wanted to share that with you guys. So, worth the money that I subscribe to the Times this time. I keep subscribing and unsubscribing. When I unsubscribe, a couple of days later, they're like, oh, please come back for a month for $1. So I would recommend doing that.
Recently, but I would view that as somewhat different. They stopped it from going into China, but they didn't stop
did you
it
guys
from going
not
to
see
the
any...
U.S. and the world.
You guys missed most of that. I'm sorry. I was looking at one screen. I put it up there and I didn't turn the other screen off. So I don't know what you guys were looking at. Probably my personal email and bank account. So anyway, how the virus got out. Look it up. Here's what you guys missed. There, see? Really, really cool stuff. There's the virus spreading in the United States. As the president said, the virus will not have a chance against us. So check that out. Back to Trump.
And they
I really need a producer here helping with this.
should have been able to do that.
If you get reelected, sir, would you cut another trade deal with Xi
Oh, you guys did see it. Okay, thank God.
Jinping?
Oh, you did, because I went full screen. Yes! Ha ha! I'm smarter than I think I'm not.
I'll sort of hold that answer in abeyance. I'm not happy. We made a great deal, but the ink wasn't dry when we got hit with
Always with the ink wasn't dry. Literally the only person on the planet who signs contracts with a Sharpie. The ink is dry immediately.
the plague, and the plague came in from China, so I'm not happy.
And lastly, sir, on the issue of Russia and bounties. If there's ever a scenario in which Russia puts a bounty on U.S. troops, how would you respond?
First of all, they'd hear about it, but we never heard about it.
Oh, they'd hear about it. They'd hear about them putting a bounty on, or they'd hear about it from him. I'm not sure what he's trying to say there. But they never heard about it. No, we heard about it. The United States knew about it, and it was in his presidential daily briefing on February 27th. And that day, he was meeting with Diamond and Silk.
Because intelligence
So no time to meet, or no time to read the presidential daily briefing.
never found it to be of that level where it would rise to that. When you bring something into a president, rise
hold
to
on.
that.
Hold on. Let's go back.
Never found it to be.
How would you respond?
First of all, they'd hear about it, but we never heard about it because intelligence never found it to be of that level where it
Okay.
would rise to that.
To that what?
When you bring something into a president, and I see many, many things, and I'm sure I don't see many things that they don't think rose to the occasion.
That's not what rose to the occasion means. Rose to the occasion is you're faced with adversity and you rise to the occasion and you handle that adversity. It's not how much credibility intelligence has.
This didn't rise to the occasion. And
You have never risen to the occasion.
from what I hear, and I hear it pretty good, the intelligence people many of them didn't believe it happened at all. I think it's a hoax. I think it's a hoax by the newspapers and the Democrats.
So based on what you've been briefed, do you think it is?
Well, I think, yeah, I agree with the intelligence people. I think, frankly, that many of the intelligence people didn't think it was something that even happened. And if it did happen, the Russians would hear about it, and anybody else would hear about it that was involved. There's
From him? Or is he saying, because this is what happens when the Russians do something, Trump talks to them and they deny it strongly, and then that's that.
never been anybody so strong, so good to our military. I've spent more money. We have a brand new, beautiful military. When I took over, it was depleted. It was a mess. And the greatest asset we have in our military is our men and women, our soldiers, our sailors, all of the people in our military. And I'm here to protect them. But this was something that never got presented to me, and they know that, never got presented because it didn't rise to that level.
Thank you, sir. We'll leave it there.
Thank you
We
very
appreciate
much.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the first interview. Let's go right into the next one. What time? It's 5:30, so good timing. Everything's a hoax that he doesn't agree with. So this is with Eric Bolling, who used to be on Fox News. There's stories about Eric Bolling. I'm not even getting into it. I'm going to turn the volume up there. Hopefully the volume works. This is by a different broadcaster. This is Sinclair, which is, there's Fox News over on the right, your right, my, whatever it is, and then right of right is Sinclair and OAN. OAN is even righter than more right. None of them are right. That's the problem. When they were giving out right versus left, the left was probably like, yeah, whatever. We'll take what left? Yeah, that's fine. Fine. Whatever's left over, we'll take it. And the right's like, right?
Mr. President, thank you for spending some time with our big Sinclair audience. Appreciate that. I'm sure they do as well. You know, when you do an interview with the president, everyone calls you and said, ask him this, ask him that.
Right.
I took them all down. I threw them all out because I wanted to do something a little different with you. I hope that's okay. A couple years ago,
I took them all down and threw them all out because I don't do prep. I'm not a journalist really in any way, shape, or
my
form.
son passed away.
Oh yeah, so he's a Trump sycophant, sort of, by the way.
In the middle of the night, opioid overdose accident. Threw 'em all
This
out
is a sad story.
because I wanted to do something a little different with you. I hope that's okay. A couple years ago, my son passed away. In the middle of the night, opioid overdose accidental at University of Colorado.
That's right.
Next morning, I get a phone call from the President of the United States. That was you, sir. He said, anything I can do? I said, not now. A couple of weeks later, it was Thanksgiving, the proverbial empty chair. On the way to the chair, you called again and said, are you and Adrian okay? I said, wow, that's amazing. You have a heart. I don't think people see the heart that Donald Trump has. I hope I'm not ruining your street cred, but when you watch all the TV news, when you watch what's going on with the rioting, and then the coronavirus death tolls, and then they point, these anchors point the finger at you, how does that make Donald Trump the person feel?
So I don't like it, but I've gotten used to it.
Video sounds low. Yeah, hold on. I'll see if I can turn it up a bit. Okay.
And I fight it. All I can do is fight it on social media because the media and
This is the video. That's the color of the video. It is weird. It's a weird looking video.
Sinclair is terrific, I have to say, but the media is largely fake. A percentage of it, a big percentage, a horrible percentage if you think about it. It's fake news. And I don't say that as a joke. I say that it's actually beyond fake. It's fake and it's corrupt. They make
Was anyone taking that as a joke? When he calls the press the enemy of the people, we're like, oh my God, do it again. Say it again. Oh, stop it.
up stories. They make up sources. They don't have source. Anytime you say anonymous source and a source that wants to remain secret, all this, it doesn't exist in many cases. Not in all cases, but in many
You said anytime, in many cases.
cases. They say they got it on the grounds of this
Debbie, just to fact check you on that, your kidneys are part of Mars.
or that. They make up stories, almost like a fiction writer. The media
That's exactly what a fiction writer does.
is incredibly dishonest. I saw Biden interviewed yesterday. He did his first press conference in, I guess, almost 90 days. And he was reading the answers off a teleprompter.
He was
this
not.
This was for question and answer. And they'd ask him these softball questions. How much do you dislike Trump? How much? I mean, really, questions that were
They didn't ask him that.
terrible and should not have even, I mean, it's embarrassing. And he's reading answers off a teleprompter.
Well, the whole part about being a free press is that you can be biased. That's what the free press is. You're allowed to print stuff, whatever you want. The government can't control what you print. That's the definition of free press, Kevin. Are you really a Kevin?
I say I've never seen that before.
Someone questioned his mental acuity, and his response, again, that he had those questions in advance, but his response was, I can't wait, these are his words, I can't wait.
By the way, someone spoke to 5 of the reporters who were at the press conference for Biden 2 days ago. None of them had been prepped on their questions. Not one.
Wait to debate Donald Trump. Those questions in advance, but his response was, I can't wait, these are his words, I can't wait to debate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, his response actually was, I get tested all the time. But he was talking about COVID.
Was he? Okay, so here's Donald Trump. Says that he watched the interview. Says that Biden, we're not even going to talk about the teleprompter. Let's just leave that aside. The question was about Joe Biden. Okay, I'm just going to show it to you. Just going to show it to you. And you decide for yourself Kevinly family, what Joe Biden was responding to. Was he saying that I get tested for cognitive skills on a daily basis by having to deal with this? Or was he saying that I get tested for the coronavirus? Remember, Trump has said multiple times that he watched the interview.
Last question, real quick. Some have speculated,
You're a
sir,
lying dog
that you are subject to some degree of cognitive decline. I'm 65. I don't have word recollection that I used to have. I forget my train of thought from time to time. You got 12 years on me, sir. Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested and I'm constantly tested. Look, all I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against. Thank you so much.
Now watch as he walks off here. What's the first thing Biden does? Boom. Picks up his mask and he puts it on because he's going to be near other human beings. Okay, so you decide. Cognitive? Was he talking about getting tested? He was saying that he gets tested all the time for the coronavirus like Trump? Is that the case? Keep in mind, Trump says he watched the press conference and he analyzes it. He pays attention to detail like nobody pays attention to detail. Let's see here. Yeah, so anybody cognitive testing, let me know. Biden does have Secret Service, yeah. Kevin says, this Kevin is for Trump and USA, successful for all Americans. Well, that's not the way it works, Kevin. We've just lost 130,000 Americans because Trump didn't test during the first 6 weeks because he didn't take the virus seriously, and his CDC screwed up the testing. So, successful for some Americans. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But welcome, Kevin. Keep chatting. We appreciate you. We love it when a troll like you comes into the room because it's entertaining and because it makes me money. Anyway, so the question is asked, and I just love the irony of this. The testing about cognitive ability is denied by Trump, saying that Biden was talking about getting tested for the coronavirus. He's tested all the time for the coronavirus. Let's just replay that so that's clear.
I've never seen that before.
Someone questioned his mental acuity, and his response, again, that he had those questions in advance, but his response was, I can't wait, these are his words, I can't wait to debate Donald Trump. What do you say?
Well, his response actually was, I get tested all the time. But he was talking about COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, you're not responding to the question, which Trump doesn't. Then he's responding to the question, claiming that Joe Biden was saying he gets tested for COVID all the time. Remember, this question is about cognition. Trump watched the interview. Trump watched the press conference. This is what happened just minutes before in the press conference.
Subject, you have been doing these public events for the past month, which has put you in contact with more people. Have you been tested for coronavirus? And if so, how frequently are you doing that?
No, I have not been protected. I have not been tested for the coronavirus for two reasons. One, I've had no symptoms, as my mother would say, knock on wood. And number two, I haven't wanted to take anybody else's place in the process. But the Secret Service, they all get tested. They're around my home. And anyone who comes into my home, including staff who comes in, is tested to determine whether they have the virus.
Okay, so Trump is asked a question about cognitive ability, answers not with an answer to that question, and claims that Biden has said that he gets tested all the time for the coronavirus, even though 5 minutes before, Biden had explained that he has never been tested for the coronavirus. What's the question about again? Mental acuity. And he's in charge.
He wasn't talking about his acuity test. You know, it's called cognitive, and he didn't get the word. But he was really...
He thinks that Biden didn't know what the word cognitive means. Biden answered the question on COVID 5 minutes previously.
Referring to something else because somebody was screaming, and one of the few questions that sounded real was that question. He said, I get tested all the time. But he was talking, I assume he was talking about the COVID, not
And you've made an ass out of you, but not me.
cognitive. And no, he's mixed up. Look,
Not cognition. Cognitive.
he was talking, I assume
He was talking about the medical.
he was talking about the COVID, not cognitive. And no, he's mixed up. Look,
He's mixed up. He's the one that's mixed up.
I look forward to the campaign. It's really just starting for us. We've done an incredible job. We built the greatest economy in the history of our world, not only here, and we had to turn it off because of what came in from China, because of the plague that came in from China right after we signed a trade deal. The ink wasn't dry, and it came in from China. I'm not
There's a Sharpie. The ink was dry. We just talked about this. But that he says that every time.
happy about it. But we turned it off, and now we're building it back, and we have record job numbers last month. We get job numbers again soon, but we had record job numbers. We had record retail sales numbers. We're going to build it back fast. I think you know it maybe better than anybody because you know me better than most.
I do. I was there in 2016 when I saw the polls doing kind of what they're doing right now, sir. Where early, in the last year.
Much worse.
Well, they didn't look good. They had Hillary Clinton beating you.
They weren't looking too good, I guess.
Fairly soundly. And I keep going into the internals on those polls. And this is something no one does. Certainly no one does on television. But I was doing it in 2016. I even spoke to you about it. I said, if you look into the internals, these people are polling wildly skewed towards Democrats. So if you ask more Democrats who's going to win, of course, you're going to look bad. I think the same thing is happening. But these media outlets are the polling sources.
Well, the polling was accurate last time. There's a margin of error, and it fell within the margin of error. And keep in mind, the national polls were right on. Hillary won by more than 2%.
Is there a fair poll out there?
There are, and we have some really good ones, and we've gotten some really good polls, but I had the same thing in 16. I got numbers. I was 14, 15 points down in some polls in front of the last election, and then I won. Now, I think we did come up a lot of the last week, but we didn't come up numbers like that. We won. It's the fake polls.
This is Eric Bolling. He used to be on Fox.
I call them fake polls. They're suppression polls. They're meant to dampen the enthusiasm of your voters, of your people, because we have tremendous enthusiasm. We're up 30 points in enthusiasm. That's a very important word, in enthusiasm over Biden. Take a look at voting. There's thousands of votes all over the place. Trump, we love Trump. Motorcycle.
You know what? Have all the voters that you want on your side. Everybody who has a boat, go ahead and vote for Trump.
You look at...
That's called voter suppression.
You look at all of the motorcycles. They're all over the highways with the
Bikers
flags.
for Trump.
Yeah. We have a group, Bikers for Trump. They're incredible people. And they're all over the place. They have many groups, actually, but one of them is Bikers for Trump. Thousands and thousands of people.
Thousands of people voting for you.
Construction workers,
Truckers.
Police. The police are with us. The military's with us.
Can I stay on
rebuilt the
police for a
military.
minute? A lot of people ask me, what is Trump going to do in a...
Yeah, so the one thing I'm worried about is in the heartland, not a lot of fans of looters. And if the left keeps pushing, they will alienate the same people that got alienated the last time around, and the Democrats lose again. Remember, the only states that matter are the swing states.
second term regarding
Nothing motivates people like shaming them.
the civil unrest that's going on right now, defund the police. Tell us the difference between Donald Trump second term and Joe Biden first term when it comes to
He
the
wants
police.
to defund and abolish police because that's what he's being told to
Biden does not want to defund and abolish the police.
do. He's not making his own decisions. The radical left is doing, they're telling him what to do. He wants to defund and abolish the police.
Are they making him take COVID tests? Is the radical left making him do that?
And you see it, what they're doing in Minnesota. Take a look at what they're doing in Minneapolis. Take a look at what's going on. Now, if I wasn't here, Minnesota would have been a disaster because I was very strong. You got to get the guard out. You got to get...
The guard was ordered in before he even mentioned the National Guard. It was the governor, it wasn't him.
When they finally got the guard out, everything ended.
What happens,
2 days later.
you're pushing for federal sentencing penalties for taking down statues to be increased and to be very tough on them. What happens when a governor or a mayor says, we're ignoring the federal statutes we're going to let you pull down those statues.
It's not only that we're pushing, we already have it.
Yeah.
I took out an old act, the statues and monuments, and we were going to have thousands of people in Washington last week, and nobody showed up because they get a 10-year jail term now. They pushed down a statue.
They've gotten a 10-year jail term. I mean, it's up to 10 years, but it's been in effect. He didn't put it into effect. It was the Monuments Act, and it's been in effect for, oh boy, there was an update in the 2000s, but I think it's a really old law.
Touch anything. It's a very tough act. You couldn't get a thing like that approved today. I took it out, and we used it, and you see the difference. You haven't seen any riots. You haven't seen people doing things lately, and the reason is 10 years in prison. If they knock down a statue, now it started with Confederate soldiers, and then they started hitting George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and they started hitting Thomas Jefferson. And, you know, I'm going to a very special place this weekend, as you know, very beautiful monument. It's called Mount Rushmore. And somebody said they want to see that come down. That's never coming down. And
yes, Silas, that's a joke.
We're going to run it the way I've been running it. Very tough. Now, we had to see what was going on for a period of a week and a half. Once we saw what was going on, I did this act last week, a week.
This is stuff going on for a week and a half. Week and a half.
Ago, a little more than a week ago, and it's been very powerful because people don't want to go to prison for 10 years for knocking down a statue. And most of these people, they're anarchists or they're agitators. Most of them don't even know what they're knocking down. You know, whether it's Andrew Jackson, they were doing Andrew Jackson a week ago. Almost got it down, but I had people go in that were very strong, and they went and did a good job. The ropes were up, everything was ready. We got it just in time. Andrew Jackson was a great general and a good president, very good president, probably two-term. And we did a good job. If I weren't here, all of Washington would have been knocked down. That's what would have happened. You would have had Washington knocked down. With somebody like a Biden, where there's no law, there's no order, everything would have been knocked down.
That's what he thinks is going to happen. Biden's going to come in and immediately just all the laws are gone. That's it. No more laws, everybody. It's the purge.
But I'm here.
Yeah. Mr. President, before I let you go, everything seems to be political now. We talk about masks. You can see this really nice
Good.
Trump.
I like
it's
that.
really nice Trump mask.
Nice.
Oh, he has a mask. Because well, I'm like, wait, can I close up on that? I want to see what a mask looks like. Can we get, just in case no one's seen what a mask looks like, it's really great that Bolling,
Will you consider wearing?
It's from the side. Oh man, sorry guys. Hold on, I'm going to look up what a mask looks like. That's investigative journalism.
A mask, and if not, how come?
Well, I've already had masks, and I've worn a mask, and if I'm near people, you know, you were tested, right, just now?
I was tested.
And everybody that's around me as president gets tested. That's like standard. And I keep distances. I'm, supposed to keep a distance, and I keep distances. But if I needed a mask, if I was in a crowd, a lot of...
I keep distances. To keep my distance, but yeah, nothing. He never says anything in a normal Englishy way.
People and everything else, I'd wear them. I have no problem with a mask at all. And I tell people, but I have a different kind of a life. Being president, you have a little bit of a different life. You're not that often. I don't think it makes sense when you walk up. I see Biden walking up on a stage where there's nobody around and the audience is 25, 30, 40 feet away. Not too much of an audience either, by the way. And he's speaking, and he has a mask on, and you can't even understand what he's saying, or he takes it off up there.
Yeah.
When there's nobody around, I don't see any reason to be wearing it. But no, I have no objection to masks whatsoever. Do what you're supposed to do, and also do what makes you feel good.
All right, there you go. There's some breaking news right there. Appreciate that.
There you go. Do what makes you feel good. I'm just going to pull up. Let me swing it over here for you guys. I want to see if Biden got up on stage yesterday with a mask on and started speaking with a mask on. Hold on. Here we go. Here he comes. Okay. He's wearing a mask as he's near people. This man has...
A few minutes late. This is my polling place. I was trying to vote.
Takes it off immediately, like it's second nature. And for some reason, Trump thinks that's worth making fun of. But, oh no, he's on board with the mask now. Totally on board.
Mr. President, we'll let you go. It's hot, and you're a busy man. One final thought. John Hannity asked you about your second term, and the left was upset with it. They said he wasn't sure what his second term's all about. Let's do it. Let's do a retake on that. What is Donald Trump's second term? What's the main focus?
Yeah, so Sean Hannity asked Trump the other day, what are your goals for the second term? And he started talking about how talent's more important than experience, then went on to two other things that had nothing to do with plans for the second term. So let's see if he can nail just one idea for one new thought on the second term here. What are you going to change, Mr. President? What is left for you to do?
Focus for that.
Well, I didn't hear anybody was upset with it, but I will tell you it's very simple. We're going to make America great again. We are doing things.
Oh, that's new. Everybody, Trump's going to make America, he's going to do it. He's going to make it great again. Mega.
That nobody could have done. We've rebuilt the military. We have ways to go. We've done things for the vets like nobody's ever seen. We can.
The choice that Obama got passed in 2014, the accountability that Obama passed in 2014, those kind of things that nobody's ever seen?
Do even more. We did choice, as you know. We did accountability.
Oh, you did?
What we've done, nobody's been able to.
He did double secret choice.
To do. But we have more to do. Economic development, jobs, trade deals. The trade deals I've made are incredible. We made the great deal with China. Of course, as I said, the ink wasn't dry before we got hit with the China plague. But we made the deal. In fact, today is the first official day, the USMCA. That's Mexico and Canada. This was NAFTA, one of the worst deals ever made, one of the worst trade deals. We suffered with that deal for many, many years.
I will never not call it NUFTA.
And nobody could terminate it. I terminated it, gave you a new deal. I made a new deal with South Korea. We have many great trade deals. Our country will be so strong at the end of our first term. It's going to be great. It would.
That I'm gonna be able just to take some time off and go golfing, because I haven't been able to golf for it seems like 3 years.
It's been phenomenal. We got hit with the plague. At the end of the second term, it's going to be at a level that nobody will have ever seen a country. We're doing it, whether it's trade.
Are we going to rise to that level? A level at which nobody has ever seen. At the end of the second term, America's going to be up 35, maybe 40%. Some people are saying as high as 50. I think America could be up 147%. I don't want to say that because then you people will criticize me.
Whether it's military, all made in the USA, so important, made in the USA. One thing very important, we got to bring back our manufacturing, and I brought it back very big, but we have to make our own pharmaceutical products, our own drugs, prescription drugs. We have to make our own things. We're doing it now with steel. We're doing it now with a lot of different products. I've done that, but we can do it with a lot more. We want to build our own ships. We don't want to send out to other countries to build ships. So we have a lot of things we can do. We've done a lot, but we have a lot of things we can do.
Always good to remind the American public what.
We've done a lot, but we have a lot of things we can do, none of which I'm going to mention. Getting a chance to redo that question that he was criticized for, ridiculed, even in the right-wing media. It's like, hey, here's a softball. What are you going to do in your second term? And that's the thing, is you have to say what you're going to do in your second term because people want to know, because they're going to vote for you or the other guy. Okay, you've done the whole Keep America Great thing, and here we are with 11 to 12% unemployment. What do you got planned? Eric Bolling sets him up with this softball. Actually, should set him up with a bowling ball, but anyway.
You've done in the first 3.5 years and continue.
Well, you know, they say, everybody says it, and nobody even disputes it.
Okay, so he just, I totally messed that up, but yeah, he basically throws him another bowling ball. Here we go.
Continue.
Well, you know, they say, everybody says it, and nobody even disputes it.
What?
In the history of our
He's about to say something that everybody disputes.
Country, nobody has done more than I have in the first 3.5 years.
Nobody has killed more Americans than you have in the first 3 years.
And it's been really positive stuff. And we
positive tests.
We did get artificially hit by this horrible thing that came in.
No, it was a real hit, trust me.
From China.
Yeah.
But that's now, you see what's going on. The stock market is getting close to a record. We have some great things. People with 401ks are getting to be very, very happy, very, very happy. I think.
Yay! I'm back to almost where I was 5 months ago.
I think we're going to do a fantastic job.
Mr. President, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Have fun.
And I appreciate your time, guys. That's it for the broadcast today. I'm going to end this thing quickly. You've got yourself a Billy Joel vote. We're going to check on that very quickly. So for those of you who don't know, we're doing this Billy Joel Madness thing. Let's take a quick look at it. And there's your live update. Holy crap. Piano Man was up by a bunch when I looked at it earlier. Now you can see Piano Man is up on Only the Good Die Young, 53 to 47. That is too close to not get in there and vote, guys. If you haven't voted already, go vote for your favorite. Retweet that so other people who like Billy Joel can vote as well. It's Billy Joel Madness is the hashtag. Put that into the Twitter machine and you will get that result. I will see you tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be something going on. Today, there was nothing scheduled. So I thought, well, I'll just do the 2 interviews from yesterday. And then we got the morning press conferences and the jobs report. The jobs report is only supposed to come out tomorrow, but, July the 4th. Sleepy Joe, Richard. Okay. So everybody, have I missed anybody? Hi, Misty. Good to see you. Richard, I'll say hi to you anyway. Thank you for mentioning something in the twat. That's what we're gonna call the trolls from now on. Twats. You see, I'm losing it. I need to take some cognition tests to see if I have COVID. No, some cognitive. I forget what he did. Okay, everybody, have a good night. Again, these are not all of the sponsors. If you'd like to sponsor us, go to kevinleefather.com and you can become a patron there. Otherwise, if you want to make a one-time payment, paypal.me/kevinleedad. That worked out perfectly. And with that, I'm going to wish you guys have a perfect evening like a Ukrainian phone call.